Chelsea just looked fresher, and the equaliser coming as late as it did is a cruel blow. But you have to say that on the balance of play, you could feel that it was coming. Reinders had given City the lead, but Fernandez has found the equaliser. Final score, City 1, Chelsea 1. Well, let's go back to the studio and we can hear from Kel, Steve and Paul.
Welcome back, Manchester City fans. This is Matchday live from the Etihad Stadium, bringing you pictures at full time here in our Premier League clash against Chelsea. And as you can tell by the tired and dejected faces of our boys in blue, it is finished, as you can see on that scoreboard there in the top left corner. Manchester City 1, Chelsea 1. A late equaliser from Chelsea means we share the points in this Premier League clash. It wasn't for a want of trying though, Steve Howey. It feels like a couple of injuries there went against us, a little bit of a depleted squad. We really struggled to try and keep the energy going till the end, but it wasn't for a want of trying from the boys in blue.
No, absolutely not. I think it always becomes a lot harder when you've conceded very late on. You know, if a team scores against you and there's still 20 minutes to go and it ends in a draw, it's kind of accepted a little bit weirdly. But obviously when you concede that late on, it's a tough one to take. But I mean, the game itself, it was scrappy, but it was open, it was end to end. And towards the end though, I mean, you mentioned a couple of injuries to key players at the back. You could just see Chelsea just kind of knocking on the door a little bit, being a bit more on the ascendancy, and then you're thinking, you know, can they keep it tight at the back? Can they just keep being nice and compact? But as I said, they were having some decent attacks without really creating anything major, but just right at the death there. I think it's Neto takes on Lewis O'Reilly, and he kind of, I'm not blaming him, but he, you know, you can see he's dived in a little bit, whether that's just the tiredness. But he whips in a great ball. It takes a kind of a couple of deflections. Goalkeeper makes a decent save initially, but Fernandez is there just to top it off. It's a bit of one to swallow, but I think if you're being honest, it's probably on the scheme of things, the second half, Chelsea probably deserved to get something from the game.
It felt like a tale of two halves. I think Steve's called that spot on there, Paul. First half, City felt very much in control after them early chances from Chelsea. Second half started well. Do you think City might be a bit frustrated they couldn't convert one of the chances? I can't think of any clear cut, but it felt like we threatened enough, and maybe it was I felt decision making. The last moment was the one.
I just think for once, and it's been for years, it's been fantastic, especially recently. Our final ball's been absolutely bang on. Just a couple of times it was maybe overweighted the pass, but maybe the wrong decision as well. You know, there was a few times where 4v3, 3v2. Going in and we've just sort of made the wrong decision to get it. It looked to me, and I'm just looking purely from a striker's point of view, as if some of his teammates were that desperate to get Erling's 150 goal. Yeah. That they were so desperate for him to have it that it was the wrong option sometimes that they kept trying to play to him when there was other things on. I think you've got to give Chelsea credit, because after about 15 minutes of the second half, they stopped sitting in. They ended up leaving 2v1 at the back with Erling, pushed their full-backs right on to make it really difficult for us. But in saying that, I mean, I can only remember Donnarumma having one save to make in the second half. You know, and then the goal, when it has came, you know, Fernandez has done his best to miss it twice before he's been able to tap it in. So, but yeah, give Chelsea their due. Disappointing, it is disappointing, but you know, 6 points. We've come back from a lot more than this before. Yeah, we have called that back before. Love that, Paul. Let's go down to pitch side. We can now hear live reaction from FG alongside Andy Morrison.
Full time from the Etihad Stadium. Manchester City 1, Chelsea 1. Chelsea with the last gasp equaliser in a game where City fought so hard. They did look tired towards the end though, Andy.
Yeah, looked shattered towards the end, and you know, we talked about it last year, no excuses, but you lose two centre-halves in a game of this size, you know, and the goal comes from a ball where normally your centre-half would cut out that ball across the 6-yard line, and we couldn't get back into shape, and you can't lose two centre-halves in a game of this size and expect to not have questions asked of you.
There'll be a lot of talk now about the title race, but it's so important to understand how long there is still to play in this season. Straight away, we're back in action against Brighton here on Wednesday. An opportunity to close that gap before Arsenal play.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, listen, this is still, there's 6 points in it. Arsenal have still got to come here. You know, there's everything to play for. You know, that's a point today. You know, it should have been 3, but look, listen, we need to find out what the injuries are after the game. That's going to be as important, because the centre-half's losing them the way we have been. When we've been so solid and we looked strong right up to that point when we lost them, and lads were breathing at the end, they were really struggling.
They were indeed. It was a really difficult result to take here at the Etihad, but like you said, so much football to play. We need to make, hopefully, fingers crossed, all of our players are fit enough to play and keep the squad fit, because we've got loads of football to play, including the Champions League, which returns soon as well.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, and I mean, the physios have got to get their work done now. You know, the rehab boys have got to get these ready again for Wednesday, and which is going to be a huge game. But hopefully, you know, it's not too bad news on the centre half that we've lost today, and maybe there's a couple of players back for the next game.
Yeah, fingers crossed. Andy, thank you very much for your excellent work on Cobbs. Let's head back to the studio. City take a point on to Wednesday.
Yes, we do indeed. And I just wanted to pick up on that point. We spoke about the Chelsea goal. Really unfortunate to concede that. I mean, Paul, you said Donnarumma did almost like it felt like the save of the game. Yeah. He was so unlucky for him to get, for him to put that second chance away, the second opportunity. But to lose Gvardiol to injury, who I think has been in the form of his City career over the last month, and then to see Diaz go down with 10-15 minutes to go, who, as we know, is the leader, the general of that defence, in a game of that magnitude against a Chelsea team that are picking up momentum, that's huge. That it feels like, Steve, that felt like almost a turning point for Chelsea to go, maybe there's a chink in the armour. Yeah,
I mean, obviously Chelsea's looked at that and they thought, you know, we've got a sniff now. We've got half a chance, because we've seen, like last season, because of injuries and stuff to the players at the back, didn't really have a settled back four. But we were speaking a bit before the game how settled it has been. So to lose 2 of your top players in the same game, your 2 centre-halves, it was a blow. And of course, you could see probably their manager shouting to his players, get at them, because you've got 2 lads that's coming on. They've got to get to the pace of the game. They haven't played that much football. The need to be, you know, when you come on as a forward, you've got to be, in all fairness, too quick for the game. Yeah. Because you can't allow yourself to be too slow, because you're just going to get caught. But, you know, in all fair to the lad, I mean, they came on, done everything that they needed to. I mean, we've just been speaking about Kosanev. I mean, I thought he did it really well when he came on. But you just feel sorry for the lads, because they looked as though they were dead on their feet. Yeah. They looked absolutely shattered, and you can see them walking around the pitch and they look absolutely devastated. Steve said, which is absolutely spot on, City have come back from bigger gaps than this. Yeah. Still a lot of football to play.
There is indeed.
Always the positives.
And you know, you see actually, you know, the players to come back from injury still, and we hope that you know, Diaz and Gvardiol aren't too late. We've also got a transfer window here as well, which I think we strengthened really well last window. If you think Marmoush, Kusanov, Race, Nico Gonzalez all came in. And there's still, I think, did you say, Steve, 19 games to go? So a lot of football to be played, Paul.
There's a long way to go. Look, I was looking at the bright side. We beat Brighton Wednesday. We're 3 points behind Arsenal, puts the pressure back on them before they play Liverpool. Yeah, which won't be an easy game.
That's true.
I think, I said it before. There's going to be so many times this season where teams are going to drop points you're not expecting. And it's up to the other teams to capitalise on it. Yeah. We've done it, was it a month ago, 6 weeks ago, we were 8 points behind.
That's true. That's so true, actually.
You know, a couple of weeks ago, we were 2 points behind. Yeah. You know, all of a sudden it's 6, so we can claw it back. And
Arsenal have still got to come here as well, which is going to be a huge... Is there just in the... Because we play a game every 3 days now, just until we know what's happening with the injury list, it does feel maybe, going back to what we spoke about at the start, maybe a few academy players a chance to step in, particularly maybe Exeter and after Brighton, because it is a game every 3 days now.
Well, I would imagine Exeter, no disrespect to the younger kids, but Brighton's a huge game now. Yeah. You know, but the other thing, and Steve will tell you, you know, when you get a result like that and you do feel tired and... psychologically, if you'd equalise in the last minute, you're buzzing. You don't see them on the floor like that in the last minute. So the next couple of days, mentally, they're going to have to pick themselves up. And by the time Brighton comes, physically they'll be fine, and they'll be wanting to put right what went wrong today. Yeah, because it's in their character. They're winners.
Let's see as well, because if we do win that game, let's look at the Premier League table. Then this is it as it stands. So there have been 20 games played. In my bad, sorry. There's 18 games, of course, left to play this season. We've just dipped over that halfway mark. We're level on points with Villa, who've had a great start to the season. Great first half. Obviously, goal difference a lot more superior. As Paul pointed out there, Steve, win against Brighton, you go within 3 points. You've just got to keep putting that pressure on Arsenal, it feels like, between now and the end of the season.
Yeah, I mean, ideally, you had today's result. You know, you add another 2 points onto that. the pressure, even though there's a gap between for Arsenal, the pressure's always there. Even the 6 points, the pressure is there for them. They're the ones that are getting hunted down.
Yeah.
And I know we kind of, well, I did really, about Aston Villa. But at the same token, you know, if they still keep on winning games, then that pushes Man City. Man City keep on winning games. You do feel the pressure because they've pretty much been top of the table all season.
Yeah.
And certainly after this spell, when you've got the games do come absolutely thick and fast, all of a sudden, if you have one or two results that are just not quite your way, and Man City's had it this season, but they've bounced back.
Yeah.
Arsenal haven't really. I don't think Arsenal's really had it. Yeah, there might be a sort of. They've only lost 2 games all season, but they've never really had that bit of a sticky patch.
Yeah.
So it'll be very, very interesting because they will get one. I'll be surprised if they don't. I mean, if they don't and they go all the way through the season, you've got to take your hat off to them.
Go fair enough.
But ultimately, I think they might have a sticky patch. So, you know, as long as City are where they are and just kind of on the coattails, really, they've always got a chance.
I don't think you can call anything yet. Get to the last 7-8 games, and if we're still on their coattails or even closer, they'll start feeling the pressure.
Yeah.
They'll start remembering what's happened a couple of seasons ago and the season before that. It's impossible not to get that out of your head.
Yeah.
They'll know that what's coming behind them.
Particularly in them last 2 months.
Yeah.
And as you mentioned as well, so our next game is Brighton. They've got
Liverpool
at home. So big games, thick and fast. Paul, Steve, thank you so much. Before I leave you, I just want to tell you we've got a top-of-the-table clash in the WSL. Of course, Manchester City women riding high this season. We are welcoming Chelsea at home, and we'd love for you to be there. It's here at the Etihad Stadium. It's Sunday, the 1st of February. It's a 2:30 kick-off. Tickets available now. £15 for adults and just £5 for children. All you need to do is search Manchester City women for tickets, and we'd love to get this stadium as full as possible because speaking to the players as well, we know how much of a difference it makes. So come on down. Paul, Steve, thank you so much.
Pleasure.
A draw, 1 point. It's not a loss. Onwards we go. Still lots of football to be played, and we'll be with you every step of the way. I'll be back with you in the middle of the week for Brighton. Have a lovely rest of the evening. Wishing you all a very happy new year, and I'll see you on Wednesday. Good night.
2 teams separated by the tightest of margins.